ಜಗದ್ಗುರು ಆದಿಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯರ ಪಾದಾರವಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಿಸುತ್ತಾ, ನನ್ನ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ತಾಯಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಮಾತಾ ಅಮೃತಾನಂದಮಯಿ ದೇವಿಯವರ ಪಾದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಿಸುತ್ತಾ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂಧುಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮಿಸುತ್ತಾ, ಬಂಧುಗಳೇ, ಇವತ್ತು ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯರ ಜಯಂತಿಯ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಶ್ರೀ ಶಂಕರರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸಂದೇಶವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಉತ್ಸುಕನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡದವರಲ್ಲದೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ತಲುಪುವ ಒಂದು ಆಶೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಅನುಮತಿಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಈ ಸಂದೇಶವನ್ನು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. My humble pranams to the lotus feet of Jagadguru Sri Shankaracharya. My humble pranams to lineage of Gurus. My humble pranams to the lotus feet of my divine mother Sri Amritanandamayi Devi. On 28th of April, we are going to celebrate Jayanti of Shankaracharya. However, it is very unfortunate that the virus COVID-19 is entering everywhere. It is entering houses, it is entering public places, making it difficult for us to arrange the function in any public place or in the premises of temple or much. However, it is an opportunity for us to focus ourselves on Adi Shankaracharya and also its principles and the total effect of Shankara's life on society by sitting ourselves in our own homes. With that, I want to tell certain things to all my viewers. Acharya Shankara has propagated the philosophy of or a principle of Advaita, but it is not the one that has been invented by him. It is a statement of the ultimate reality. Long prior to Adi Shankara, Rishi Agastya had declared that Shakti is Brahman and Brahman is Shakti. Now Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, who is my divine mother and my guru, has declared that creator and creation are one. Creation is also the Abhivakta Rupa of the creator. Amma is also telling that if you serve the creation, ultimately it reaches the creator himself. So whatever we do in the direction of protecting the nature, Mother Earth, ultimately it will be the worship of the creator himself. Now we have seen the miseries that are actually putting question mark over the very existence of the human race. Adi Shankara, long back, when he came to the scenario of this nation, the situation was not different. The people with the negative thoughts were everywhere. In fact, the life of Adi Shankara is being misunderstood by a section of the people, and there is also an attempt to misinterpret whatever Shankara has done to this nation. If you go back, the Bharat as a nation has been spiritually in existence from thousands of years. Bharata, China, and also Russia together used to be called as a Jambu Dvipa. Before the movement of the Mother Earth and repositioning or fresh positioning, this part of land, inclusive of Bharata, China, and Russia, it was in the shape of a fruit. This was an area of operation of Jambu Rishi. So the land has acquired the name of Jambu Dvipa. Bharat, which was the southern portion of it, later got divided by virtue of the Himalayan mountains. The Meru mountain, which is being referred in various Puranas, was in existence probably in the China part of land. Now, due to the movement of the earth or earthquake, the Meru probably went underground and parts of it are still there to be seen in China. In ancient times, our rishis used to travel to that part of land. One of the Shishyas of Agastya, called a Bhogar, was frequently traveling to China. And in fact, it is being told that he is being referred as Tao in China, and Taoism is being founded by him. Chinese were originally very quiet people. They were not attacking any other nation. They were not ambitious. In fact, there were three major religions in China. One is Taoism, another is Confucianism, and another one is Buddhism. Now, Confucianism and Buddhism, both were almost similar in their philosophies. And compassion was the thing that was being taught by these two religions. Taoism was very near to our Vedantic philosophy. Basically, Chinese were following these particular religions and they were self-satisfied. But unfortunately, what happened? In the early part of 19th century and later part also, Chinese were being exploited by British people and also by Japanese. The result was that the British, they used to buy silk from China and sell the apim to Chinese and virtually made them drug addicts and spoiled their life. Japanese also exploited them. And the system of the feudalism in China has also affected the normal life of the people there. So at that time, the Communist Party was being formed by few of them in China. Later the leadership was taken by Mao Zedong, were Buddhists. They were very compassionate to others. However, Mao Zedong disowned his own parents and he told the people that it is your compassion that is the one which is preventing you from urging your rights, from agitating your rights. He told that the compassion in the heart of the Chinese is the one which has prevented the people from urging their rights. That's how he was able to change the mindset of the Chinese. Chinese who were very reserved people were made aggressive. Their mindset was totally changed from compassion to cruelty. That could be seen in the peasant movement of the China, where thousands and thousands were killed in the movement of this Mao Zedong. Later, were under the impression that they will be getting the lands which were being originally owned by the feudal landlords. But unfortunately, that did not take place. This all ambitious Mao Zedong took the property for state. Nothing was given to the original tenants. Their position still became worst. Then the agriculture was the main occupation of the China. It has gone for dogs. There was no food. The people suffered from starvation and they started to eat everything for their life. They started to eat even dogs and cats and ultimately the creatures like the serpents. All these things started because of the misery that was put on China by Mao Zedong. Later, Mao Zedong was able to lose his hold on the society. Then he set another revolution that is called cultural revolution. You may be wondering, what is that culture? Culture means bringing back the communist culture, culture of the trueality. He instigated the younger generation, including the high school and lower schools, these children to hold the guns and attack the others. Lakhs of people died in the so-called cultural revolution. Later on in the year of 1976, Mao Zedong died and another ruler came in his place who had a better vision, but he was also cruel in his attitude. He industrialized the whole country by making the younger generation to go to the West and learn techniques and establish industries in China, and which ultimately made the China as a superpower in the world. But the mindset of the Chinese had been completely changed. The nation, with the exception of the Genghis Khan of the Mongolian frontier, which was the nation which was for peace, was made aggressive. In the year of 1962, when our Jawaharlal Nehru, the ex-Prime Minister of India, who had been deeply influenced by the socialistic principle, was thinking that China is his friend, was calling China, Indo-China, bye. What the Chinese have done, they stabbed on the back of the Indians, and the year of 1962, they attacked India and captured the Tibet. And ultimately, they were relying on all the neighboring nations, including on Taiwan and also on Korea and Hong Kong. And in fact, even now, their evil eyes there on Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, etc. Their evil eye was also there on the Nepal. With this background, in the year of 1967, there was an attempt to enter upon the Sikkim region by the Chinese. That was repulsed, not because of any change in the military setup of the Indians, but because of valor of our soldiers. Because of their courage and sacrifice, they could repulse the Chinese. Then China realized that there is no chance of winning a direct war against India. Then the intrusion started. I will come to this little later. It has to be seen that there is same kind of people who are doing all type of negative worships, including offering of the human sacrifice in the rituals, and all sorts of negative things were going on. The mindset of the people was quite cruel. This is where Shankar entered upon the mind of every Indian at that point of time, with the ultimate offering of sacrifice by himself to a Bhairava god. You may be remembering the story of a Kapalika wanted to sacrifice a Brahmin boy to satisfy Bhairava, and Shankara himself offered to the Bhairava at that time the virus that got attacked, the Skapalika, and he had to succumb to it. Then Shankara brought changes everywhere. Wherever negative worships were going on, he condemned it and he changed the mindset of the people. He recommended austerity. Austerity was essential to live in harmony with the nature. Even Brahmins, before the emergence of Shankara to the scene, were consuming non-vegetarian foods. But Shankara changed them. The change was needed to protect the nature. Then there were sannyasis who were operating all kind of negative things. They were indulging in negative worship. Now in the worship there are two things. One is the worship for sake of the good things. And another one is worshipping for the sake of acquiring power and controlling society. That is being called as a negative worship. There were many tantrics who are doing that. Shankara condemned it and told that one should confine himself for the positive worship, where he should pray the God only for good things and not for bad things. The words of Shankara was given the very great respect by the people of Bharata, and he was accepted as Jagat Guru of this land. He laid a strong foundation, spiritual foundation for this country. The very fact that he established 4 mutts in the 4 corners of the nation itself shows that the Shankara wanted to spiritually enclose this place and make it safe for the persons on the days to come to have to achieve their goal of getting moksha by making sadhana in this particular place. So he prescribed austerities to all the sadhakas, and so far as sannyasis are concerned, he has given a new shastra or a shastra of code of conduct. In this shastra of code of conduct, I think his name is Matamnaya. He has prescribed how the sannyasi should actually lead his life. Restrictions are placed, and sannyasis were made not to come in contact with material things in their day-to-day life. Now if a plant has to be grown, now it has to be fenced. So naturally he made all these binding rules for sannyasa ashrama. What Shankara has laid for the sannyasis in his Matamnaya is now being accepted by Honorable Supreme Court of India also as the ultimate conduct rules for sannyasis. Then Shankara brought a major change in the attitude of the people. What is that Shankara has given to the people? Let us ponder over. Veda was under decline when Shankara emerged to the scene. It had to be relifted. Why it had to be relifted? Veda had been composed by thousands of rishis who were mantra drishtaras. Vedas are the messages are there in the atmosphere. But you have to, if you have to get the message, you have to have the sadhana of hundreds of years. They did it, and several Vedas were composed. Out of them, the ultimate 4 Vedas were prescribed for the human race. Now they are on decline. Now what is the need of protecting Veda? Veda is the only literature where you can actually get the information about the creator, creation, and the way of leading life harmoniously with the creation. This is what the thing that was required at that point of time. So in order to protect the Vedas, and in order to protect the Vedas, there was a need to protect the language of Veda, that is the Samskrita. It's a mother language for all the languages. Now I am talking in English. Even though I am not very proficient in English, what I can actually assess is many of the English words are rooted in Sanskrita. English is also a language which will have to be considered as child of Sanskrita. There are many instances. So like that, all the languages in the world are rooted in Sanskrita. So this protection of Veda was the need of the hour. So he established these mutts for the purpose of protecting Vedas and also the Sanskrita and pass on it to the next generation. Then Shankara has declared that this world is Nashvara. It may perish at any point of time. However, he has not rejected the material life of the people. Shankara has given enough spiritual guidance which is beneficial for our material life. Even though Shankara ultimately declared as Aham Brahmasmi, even though he has declared the principle of Advaita is ultimate, he has not actually rejected any of the roots so as to acquire this final status. Dvaita, Vishishta Advaita, which were the names which were surfaced subsequently, was already there. So he advocated the Bhakti Marga to the normal individuals so as to reach the God. So whatever it is required for Bhakti Marga, like in the form of slokas composed by him, he has given to his disciples to chant it and then lift themselves to the level of acquiring the ultimate knowledge. Now, so far as the aspect of Viveka is concerned, he had given all the emphasis for that. My Mata Amritananda Devi, my Sadguru, gives an example. When her Brahmachari disciple questioned her about the correctness or otherwise of various philosophies, probably inclusive of Advaita, Visishta Advaita, Dvaita and so many other Sankhya, etc. Amma has told, what Shankara has told is ultimate. But at the same time, she has told that if you are Advaiti, when you believe that the Atman in yourself and in any creature are one and same, if a mad dog is rushing in the road towards you, you cannot allow it to bite you. Otherwise, you will lose your life. You should be very practical, and your Viveka should always be in a proper status so as to have the enlightenment to pass on the situations. Coming to Viveka, Acharya Shankara has also propagated the same thing. If you look at what Shankara has told, Jnanam is the ultimate. That is why Shankara has brought Devi Sharada to Sringeri and got her energy installed in the Sringeri. Ultimately, according to Shankara, the thing that will have to be acquired is Jnanam. Now, that is exactly what Dr. Ambedkar has told. You become knowledgeable. You become enlightened. Where is any conflict between what Dr. Ambedkar has told and what Shankara has told? That is one and same. Now I go back to the China. Recently I read the speech of our ex-Justice Krishna Iyer and also his conversation with a correspondent. He told that I am a leftist, but I am not a communist. He tells the reason. He said that all these communist people used to go to China and get the guidance and do the things here, which was not for his liking. Now this process started exactly from the pre-independence days after Mao emerged with all his ambitious programs in China. Many of our leaders including M.N. Roy, our Nambudiri Pad, A.K. Gopalan, Jyoti Basu, they all had the connection with China. Ideas were brought from there. Their first thing was to change the mindset of the Indians. What Mao had done in China, they wanted to do in India. Their first target was Adi Shankara. Adi Shankara has taken birth in Kaladi in Kerala. Unfortunately, this Nambudiri Bhatt, who is supposed to be from the caste in which Adi Shankara was born, was the real person who targeted the philosophy of Adi Shankara. And they started to tell the people that with this mindset, you cannot actually prosper yourself. And they advocated even violence to achieve their objects. There were several constitutional methods to achieve their objects. Dr. Ambedkar never advocated for any kind of violence in achieving a social justice. Let us see one example for that. When Dr. Ambedkar was humiliated by the Vedic people, he intended to get himself changed for some other method of worship. It was not an act of leaving the Hindu religion, but he wanted to embrace a system of worship rooted in India so as to persuade his spiritual goals. So at that time, Dr. Munje was the friend of Dr. Ambedkar, suggested him to embrace the Sikh religion. Dr. Ambedkar said no, because it is a too aggressive religion, and he decided to embrace Buddhism. The reason is that Buddhism, which is being taught by Gautama Buddha, is rooted in the compassion. Karanya is the philosophy of Gautama Buddha. Jnana Marga is the philosophy of Shankaras. Karanya is the philosophy of Gautama Buddha. Now Swami Vivekananda, in one of his writings, has said that with the emergence of Gautama Buddha, the Hindu Dharma has become complete. There is a reason to pronounce like that. Bhagavad Gita had been taught by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the battlefield. There was no place for Karanya to be taught by Gautama Buddha. So someone had to teach it. God himself had the duty of teaching Karanya to the people and changing the mindset of the people so as to live harmoniously with the nature. So Gautama Buddha, who had changed the mind of the people for Karanya, was being selected by Dr. Ambedkar. But these people who took the dictums from China, what they have done? They set the people against the other section of the people and called them for the daily civil war inside the country. But later on, many of them had to cool down. Ultimately, they were born in this country. The energy of this land probably not allowed them to become the Mao Zedong, because this is the land where several Rishis have made tapas. Likewise, the people like M.N. Roy, Jayaprakash Narayan, etc., they changed their mindset. So also, our A.K. Gopalan, in his last days, he was feeling sorry for whatever he had done. At that time, China was not satisfied. China wanted some aggressive activities to stretch his hand over the Indian part of land. Charu Majumdar was the person who felt that these communist leaders, they are not actually doing what Mao Zedong has done there. Yes, let us do that by myself. So he organized the Naxalbari movement in Naxal village. Now there are no takers for this Charu Mujindar in the Naxal village. The RSS schools are running and many children are going to the schools who are actually taking the classes with the direct, wherever their affiliation to the nation. Now that cannot question. However, these Naxals, they entered upon the remote areas. Covert operations were started in many parts of the India. That is in the forest areas. Naxals made a carpet area with the probably direction from the China, right from Nepal to Kanyakumari. Then they also selected the Western Ghats to further their activities. Now they started to conspire with the fundamentalists, particularly organizations like Tablighists, and also with the Christian missionaries. Christian missionaries never wanted the mainstream of Hindus to come in contact with the tribal people. They wanted to see that they are being alienated, because it is if the Hindus of the mainland, if they alienate a particular section of society, then the atmosphere becomes conducive for conversion. That is the situation the Christian missionaries wanted. Now, for this, an atmosphere had to be made, intellectually also. What they have done, they entered various universities through some pseudo professors who claimed that they are leftists. Then they started to come close with the people of Dalit movements. These leftist professors made Jawaharlal University in Delhi as their main hub center to spread the activities to the other areas. Now they started to say so many things against Adi Shankara, and they started to say that Gautam Buddha and Shankara are the north and south poles. They pitted philosophy of Shankara against Gautam Buddha. In fact, my mother, spiritual mother, Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, says that if a person claims that Aham Brahmasmi, that is identifying himself with the entire creation, his heart should be filled with compassion. And he should actually, his heart should melt when he sees miseries and sorrows in the society. He should become blissful if somebody becomes wealthier, only if he gets a good place in the society, etc. So identifying ourselves with the entire creation is the basic quality of getting the ultimate knowledge of the Brahman. Here one could see, if one is compassionate, then only he can become real Advaiti. Now let us see what Shankara was. Even as a small child, he sung Kanakadhara Stotram to give to the wealth one who had no wealth. In every stage of his life, he tried to help others in whatever way it may be possible. Though he was an ocean of compassion, he went to the extent of offering himself for sacrifice by the Kapalika, and he bowed down to a butcher, whom the people say that he was in the clandestine form. Shiva was in clandestine form of a butcher. So that shows that compassion was the thing that was also being propagated by Adi Shankara. There is no reason to pit the Shankara against Gautam Buddha. The reason is this. After Dr. Ambedkar, he joined the Buddhist movement. A part of Dalits were diverted to that particular Buddhism. Philosophy of Adi Shankara and Gautam Buddha are supplementary to each other. However, my Divine Mother, Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, says that Advaita is not the subject which will have to be debated. It has to be implemented. In our day-to-day life, we have to implement it. Amma also says that creator and creation are one. Few years ago, in one of our religious congregation, she was distributing the kerchiefs. Then she told the disciples that this kerchief should be made use of to spit and also to cover their nose whenever the running nose is there. And she told that it can be washed and you should not spit on the land. So, and in days to come, it may affect the health of others if the person spitting is suffering from any kind of disease. People at that time were laughing at what mother was doing. Then after a few days, she started to cleanse the public places, rivers, and also private places by engaging her big battalion of disciples. The movement was given as the movement was given the name Amala Bharata. Now we are seeing that later days that was being followed by the government of India with the program Swachh Bharata. Now a lot of changes have started to come in the very attitude of the people so far as cleanliness is concerned. Mother was also cautioning that if you don't protect the nature, nature knows how to protect itself. But she was cautioning that if nature takes a decision to protect itself, then you can expect a lot of calamities and lot of miseries which probably may affect the very human race itself. Now this COVID-19, let us see how it has emerged. Adi Shankara has told, you should have proper knowledge, Vidya and Avidya. The differentiation has been given by Adi Shankara. The China, after going to the West, they learnt a lot of techniques. Can you call it as a Vidya? It is not a Vidya. It is only an information to achieve so many things. Now, if what is Vidya? If the person doing something, if he is made aware of its consequences, then only we can say that he is a Vidyavanta or he is a knowledgeable. Now the Chinese had a lot of ambitions. They wanted to capture the entire globe. So they thought that probably they can't do it with the nuclear bombs. What that they have now done? Now they cooked up this virus. Now rightly told in our Puranas, first they themselves have become Bhasmasuras, so far as the virus cooked up by them. I do not know how the virus got leaked out from their lab, maybe accidental or maybe deliberate. But the first consumption was the Chinese themselves. Now it has spread all over the world. Now our people in India who follows these leftist thinkers, they have all gone underground. I do not know, is it the face of shame or is it with the threat of this COVID-19? Now, whereas these people have gone for making agitations in Shahinabad, this leftist from Jawaharlal Nehru University, they were sitting along with the Tabligis in Delhi. I think their mindset is not changed. They will never change. It is the fear. They have gone out of the scene. As rightly cautioned by my Divine Mother Amritanandamayi Devi, now we have to reap the consequence what we have done. Now, if you look at Chinese society, Chinese had a lot of traditions. Now with the industrialization of the China, the day-to-day life of Chinese is also being affected. China has become loose. There are innumerable number of the men and women living without marriage. This is the exact situation our leftists wanted to bring to India. They are in the process of doing that. Charitra is the thing which they are actually hating. Shankara wanted to actually establish Charitra everywhere. The very dictum that he has given to the sannyasis itself shows that he was in favor of the character of a person. Now, this is the thing that makes this leftist professors to target Adi Shankara. But now we are realizing with the COVID-19 that we have to go back to the ancient days. We have to live harmoniously with the nature. We have to change our mindset. The fear of death that makes at least few people to think about the Creator, the God, who can only rescue us. So this is the situation where we have arrived. Now this is the time where we have to actually remember the gurus like Shankara, who were always in favor of protecting the entire human race and give the culture. There are dubious characters even in our own Indian society. Even though Adi Shankara has laid down the definite principles for the living of the sannyasis, dubious characters have acquired many religious places. Now what they are doing? They are not doing what Shankara said. They don't actually do any act of protection of Samskrita, Veda, etc. They indulge in doing so many other things which Shankara has banned. They made the women flock to come near to them and exploit them and ultimately entangle with so many cases in the court, ultimately making the people of this country to lose faith in the very religion itself. So it's an apachara of the dharma. This is the day where, on the day of Shankara Jayanti, we have to have an emphasis. We have to give the emphasis for the character building. Now, before actually accepting any person as a guru, we have to have our viveka. Now, we can become disciples, but we cannot become slaves. But there are certain persons who are telling that unless one becomes slave, Guruvina Gulamanago Tanaka Sigadu Mukti. But who can give the mukti? That is important. If the Guru is a realized master, then only he can give the salvation. These some sannyasis who get themselves with the various material things, they cannot give you mukti. So if you become a slave to such gurus, you will also have the whatever the sins that he is making, you will be party for that. Though this viveka we should have. Now this is the time where we have to get the awareness about the principles and life of Adi Shankara. This is the best time when Shankara can be studied in a fresh light. And a few days ago, I had been to Sringeri to attend a meeting that was being organized by Vedanta Bharati. I had a very good experience there. Earlier to that, few days earlier, I had lost my wife. who was very, very, very dear to me, who was everything for me. When my heart was full of grief, actually, it is only to just to change the place I had gone to the Sringeri. But the present Swamiji, that is a junior Swamiji, not senior, Sri Sri Jagadguru Vidhushekara Bharati, he made a lecture to us. And at a stage I felt as though he is directly addressing to me. He told that if you lose somebody in your close circle, maybe husband losing wife, wife losing husband, or parents losing children, you will be having a lot of pain in your heart. So Swami just advised, the mamakara that you are having towards the deceased, you change it towards the entire society. That has given me a very great message. From that, on that day, I decided to serve the deprived section of the society. I came back from Sringeri. Then I went to my Divine Mother, Amritananda Devi, and fortunately I could have her darshan. I told about this thing. Now the blessing to me by her came in the form of tears. She shed tears for few minutes. I was shocked. So this is the time where we have to take the ethos of rishis and munis of this land to last person. And we have to struggle for the better life of every section of our society, which only will save our country. When we serve the every needy people, I think that is the best way of propagating Advaita philosophy. With this, I conclude my words, and I bow down again to all the lineage of Rishis and Munis who actually made this land pious. And let us take oath by ourselves that we will not allow this country to be spoiled by any fundamentalists. We will not allow this country to be spoiled by the leftist ideologies. I just wanted to tell you one example. Kaladi is very near to the Cochin airport. Few years ago, when Vajpayee was our Prime Minister, this airport was inaugurated. The Civil Aviation Minister, Sri Anantakumar, who is no more, told in a speech that this airport will have to be named after Adi Shankar. President of India, Mr. Narayan, was present there. Do you know what was the reaction of the president? He told us, no, Shankara need not be named. Shankara's name need not be given to this airport. I told Shankara never travelled in the flight. My question is, there are so many other airports like the Kempegowda airport or the Chhatrapati Shivaji airport in Bombay, Kempegowda airport in Bangalore. Whether they have travelled? Now we Kannadigas, we have got a cultural identification. That's why we named the airport at Bangalore after Kempegowda, who protect our dharma at a particular stage. The same thing has been done by the Marathis. But the cultural pride of Keraligas has been killed by a particular section of the people. Why Narayan has told like that? His mindset was prepared like that in the convent where he has studied. He had all his studies mostly in Christian convents. He was very close with that particular section of people, and his association was more with the Baptists. So this is the thing that will happen if you actually allow these persons who are always after spoiling the tradition of this country and its honor. With that, I conclude my speech.